This is the movement. The movement.
When I started this journey, I really thought that the issues that I had or was having or needed to be concerned about were black women's issues. And then it's so funny, I started watching this show called Girls, and
The Lena Dunham show? I
Mhm.
never liked her show. I don't like her. So I couldn't get into the show. No offense.
no,
Sorry,
but what I liked about the show, or
But I
what
like
I
the honesty
saw
of it.
about the show, one was the honesty, and what I liked about the honesty was I saw myself doing stupid shit like that in my 20s.
And you realize it's not a black woman or a Jewish
Hello.
woman. It's all women.
It's all women.
It's all women who make the same self-sabotaging mistakes and do the same kind of crazy and then end up with the same kind of results or responses to what we put out in the universe and then wonder how we got there.
Exactly. So then,
Thank
but that
you.
was an awakening. Because then it was, like you said, it's not a black woman's issue. It's a woman's issue.
a woman's
so
issue.
I wanted to have diversity on this show because I think that sometimes we don't think we're prejudiced. But then in some areas in life, because we don't take our own self out the box, we can become a little prejudiced because we think the issues are just our own. So I wanted to invite you. First, when we met, it was like kindred spirit.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
We were
Anyway.
like, oh,
yeah, you know.
you're here.
I know, right? And I think we were already at the event like an hour or something.
Yeah, we
and
were.
You know, but
Yeah.
one of the things that we connected on outside of being entrepreneurs or businesswomen was the fact that we were both mom because of one. We both got the whole reality TV thing
Yes,
going on,
yes,
and you were on
yes.
reality TV
And maybe
as
about
a
to be
mom,
again.
right?
So yeah,
You know what I
wait to
mean?
hear.
But what is I think that again the struggles that we have, one, running your own business and running your own business as a mom, and not only
Absolutely.
as a mom but as a wife. Or are you a wife?
Well, I'm a
Okay.
partner.
Okay.
I have been a wife more times than Imelda Marcos has shoes.
No way.
Oh yeah, seriously.
How many times have you been married?
Okay, well this will be coming up.
Okay.
I just pushed the
congrats.
wedding off. Thank you, because when
We only have 45 minutes.
We have, I know, right? Well, the short version is this will be number 5. Yeah.
Okay.
You know where some
You're
other
only
women.
40. Wait.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm gonna be 48 in a couple weeks.
Wait. So number
I'm closer
5.
to 50. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did,
yeah.
Okay.
Coconut oil. Lots of coconut oil. Not much else.
So did they die?
No. However, are you asking me should they? No, I'm just kidding. But you know how? All right, so let's get real. So
Okay.
women make the same mistakes over and over, and there are some women that are givers. They're givers and they're doers. That would be women like us,
Okay.
right? Safe bet. So where other women know how to get out of a relationship that their intuitive self is saying, hey, this isn't so good, I tend to walk down the aisle and go, it's going to be okay if I just give more and work harder and make it happen for them. And if I wait to make them hold a space for them, then I'll get my needs satisfied. So
Okay.
I kind of had that pattern.
Okay.
So, the 20s and 30s were
Okay.
kind of funny
Okay.
in that way. Because I got
But
married
would you-
young the first time, and the guy took my money and split the country, so we don't even count that.
Okay.
We don't even count that.
Okay.
And then somehow the rebound into, so
Got you.
so that was my thing.
Okay.
And,
How many husbands did you have before you became a mom?
3.
Oh,
The third
wow.
was the
Okay.
father. So I had 2 before I
Okay.
became a mother. And unfortunately, or fortunately, that's the whole crazy story that we definitely don't have time for today.
Okay.
But it's, what I knew intuitively was that I was meant to be a mother, and not just to my own biological children, but to be a caretaker, right? That's a role that I have been in. And so he's the one actually out of the picture completely, always has been.
Okay.
So ironically, I've always felt like that warrior goddess, single mom, take on the earth, protect the children, protect the planet.
Okay.
But in that process, learn to protect myself.
How many babies did you?
I have 2.
Okay.
2, and they are not babies anymore.
Right.
First of all, they are 3 and 4 inches taller than I am.
Okay.
And they are, my kids are now 16 and 14. Just.
Okay. Oh, it's
So,
teenagers.
Teenagers. I have 2
So then
teenagers.
so then as a mom of 2, husband number 3, how long did that last before he was out of the
He was
picture?
basically out, but really by the time I was pregnant with my second child.
Is he an active father?
No
Okay.
contact.
Really?
So, yeah.
Okay. Is he
Yeah.
white or black?
He's white.
Okay.
He is just the person that we give no name to and no reference to because he
Okay.
doesn't even exist in our lives.
That's
and never has.
crazy.
Yeah, it was a crazy story. And one day, when I finish
Right.
launching my company, getting my daughter's acting career up, I will get back to finishing the book that's
No
called
doubt.
Spiritually Sexy.
Okay.
Because that's my whole thing is I'm a healer. You know, I'm a
Mhm.
spiritual woman and been clergy.
Okay, that was
I am
another
clergy,
connection.
actually, yeah.
So being a part of the clergy, but before being a part of the clergy,
Mm-hmm.
when do you think you realized that you were a healer?
Well, I think that that word kind of crept up on me, but in
Okay.
some way I've been doing spiritual care through the position. I was a cantor. I used to be full-time within the Jewish faith tradition. Then I also became a non-denominational interfaith minister when I left full-time synagogue life.
Okay, so how old were you around this time?
Oh gosh, I started singing in synagogues literally, actually I've been doing it over 30 years.
Okay.
A really long time.
Okay.
And
So did you have like a
major-
calling?
Oh yeah, I had
Okay.
pulpits. Well, it was sort of an accidental calling.
Okay.
So when you're spiritual, you're spiritual. It shows up in every part of who you are and what you do, regardless of the title. But the official job, I kind of kept growing into bigger positions because I use my voice. The tagline, the joke and the tagline is, I have a throat chakra with no off switch. Like, for real. No off switch.
I have a throat chakra with no
off switch.
Okay.
So writing, speaking, teaching, singing, because mostly I have a master's degree in music. I have been
Okay.
doing spiritual music, singing, being a cantor. You lead services through song and music and worship. And so definitely just all the time, giving out. And the official healer title, I think that we're all healers, so I always kind of shy away from those words.
Okay.
Because I think when we really know and love ourselves, we stand in that power and that truth and that knowing. We just offer our gifts, regardless of title. But I guess when I became a certified past life regressionist, because I do have a private practice as a healer.
Okay.
That was probably about 7 or 8 years ago now.
Okay.
So maybe that's the first time I really felt comfortable, but I've been doing it for many years because
Okay.
when I work with families and when you're there holding a sacred space and holding witness for whatever it is those families are going through, you're also a healer.
Was that helpful in you trying to figure out whether to stay, fight for your marriages, leave it, give up? Like, was that a battle within?
Yeah, in a weird way it was, because part of offering gifts and healing outwardly is taking the best of what you see and feel intuitively. But the funny part was, the one piece that was really missing for me in my early 20s and 30s was that trusting your own gut. And I talk about this so much now, is loving yourself and feeling the power within your solar plexus chakra. That's the decision maker in the body, your solar plexus.
But what happens?
And mine was kind of like little red flags and little warning bells, and we all have them.
Right.
I just didn't listen to them.
So then how will we now tell our 16-year-olds to listen to that when we saw it or knew it but didn't know what exactly it was? Because I think, like you said, we all have those little red flags. We all have those things within us to kind of warn us, but we don't act upon them. So now now that we know that, how can we explain that, or how can we
pass that teaching on? Well, it's pretty simple. In one way, we can only pass on certain information. You can be a wisdom teacher and a healer and a guide and an expert and offer the information you've experienced. But at the end of the day, you also have to teach people the most important thing, self-love and appropriate boundaries, healthy boundaries for self. Because part of what every person is meant to experience, no matter what we wish we could save our teenage girls or boys from, especially in this gender fluid generation, I don't even... to me, it's all about teaching these kids how to love themselves, protect themselves, protect each other. But they signed up for whatever their lifetime was supposed to look like. They signed up to have the experiences that were going to help their soul's growth.
Okay.
And unfortunately, just the way of the world, spiritual law, there is no greater catalyst for growth than pain, suffering, and challenge.
Okay. So it's like inevitable.
You can't avoid all of it. I mean, trust me, if I could have skin, maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit, because
So
sure.
am I being unrealistic here? That's feeling that if we expose all these things that don't get talked about, that we can help the next generation. Because I really feel like that's what it's about.
Yes.
It's not like we're healing.
Yes.
But I think we're
it's
healing.
definitely not a disservice. We have to show them, because so karmically, we not only sign up for our own experiences and our life purpose and our life lessons, right? We have to work through those life lessons. But then don't forget, our kids chose us as souls for us to give birth to them, right? So there's this beautiful, delicate dance that we do on a soul level. So we're inviting their participation and they're inviting ours.
Okay.
So we're supposed to be overlapping what we know and offer and teach and show and demonstrate and experience with what they have to know, teach, demonstrate, offer, and experience.
And I like that because you said we're supposed to, and that's where the problem has happened. We weren't doing that.
We weren't doing that.
Okay.
I don't think we were doing that as much as we.
Okay.
But right now we're in a really different, unique time on this planet on so many levels, socially, economically. We talk about race and gender and traditions and I mean, I hate to say it, but look at the guy in office.
Right.
Really.
Well.
I mean, but here's the beautiful part about that. While everyone's freaking out, and believe me, I'm freaking out too.
Okay.
I'm an activist, right, and an advocate. I'm also really grateful. Because, again, no greater catalyst for growth. Have you ever seen the millennial generation activated as they are right now?
Right.
People are waking up.
Right.
So, unfortunately, what does it take to wake up collective consciousness?
Cool.
Some
Something
serious shaking up, like serious.
Right.
Whether it's GMOs or Monsanto or Big Pharma. Look at the medical marijuana movement coming out. Like, all of these really big ideas and really old issues. Everything's coming up. Everything's churning. Never before have we been in this much turmoil and churning state as we are right now. Don't forget, you're still being a teacher in how you handle and navigate your own relationships. Right?
So then what do you think you're showing your daughter by does she have those conversations with you, like, Mom, why you can't get it right, or Mom, thank you for
teenagers are so direct with language.
Or not necessarily. Let me see how I can word. Let me think of my children and how they would work.
Oh, Mom would be like, Mama, seriously?
Like, because there's one side of respect, like, okay, you're not gonna settle, so that's why it's next. But then it could be like, well, what's wrong with you, Mom? You can't get it right. Or it could be like, well, they're all assholes. Or, what...
Yeah, but anytime somebody makes it, that's the one thing that I would never say, because, and even though that's true.
And now, is she dating now?
But, oh, God help me. I'll show you a picture of my daughter, the actress.
Right.
Beautiful.
Exactly.
Really too beautiful.
And she's 16,
oh, my Lord. So
has she come to you and said, Mom, I'm ready to date?
We have... Yeah, let's just say that Andy, my partner, he's so funny. He's like, that next boy comes over or thinks he's got, here I am with my baseball bat. He's hysterical. He's like the typical dad.
Okay.
I'm like, unfortunately, you got to let him be. And you can do only so much.
Okay.
When it comes to, again, modeling relationships, unfortunately, we do learn so much from our parents. And our parents' generation and those before were not as settled into their own skin as I like to think we are now. But that being said, it took me a while. It took all of us a while.
Right.
I mean, our kids, the millennials, sure, they think that they just came in and got it all together and all going on, especially the teens.
Right.
But in fact, that's part of the teaching. But if you're conscious about your mistakes, about your, and I don't like to use the word mistakes, about your choices, you can only assess what you do based on where you are in that moment. So if it teaches them, be present, love yourself, be mindful. It's okay to be loving. It's okay to make choices that end up with something that, okay, that was unfortunate or maybe not what you would have wished. But ultimately, every choice we make leads us somewhere.
Did your parents stay together?
No, they split when I was 16, and they had a really, didn't have a great relationship, didn't have that connection. Back in the day, a lot of parents slept in different beds and all of that, not to be too, TMI, but really, they did. And people stayed together because they thought they had to. Well, that paradigm doesn't work.
Okay.
It doesn't work. And in the process of us growing up to be the best, most vibrant, healthiest selves, we're going to take some missteps. We're going to do things that are just batshit crazy, and then hopefully we're going to learn from it. And hopefully we can model something healthier, or just be honest about that.
Right.
Because in being honest and saying, okay, I gave too much at the office, literally, figuratively.
Is that one of the reasons why you became an entrepreneur? Because you saw that you were maybe giving yourself too a job or an employer that you could have been putting
Not even
into
in
yourself?
the employer, more
Okay.
in the relationships, I think, in a weird way. Although, yeah, in maybe also technically the employer, because the employer, for me, for years, were full-time, big, religious institutions
Right, 'cause
that
you
I
had
devoted and
right,
dedicated and was in service for. I love being in service to help people. I don't want to change that.
Okay.
But I did have to learn over the last, 10 years that I've been doing my own thing, that I need to keep it in balance. And isn't that what we always do?
Yeah.
It's always about that elusive work-life balance.
Right.
First of all, it should be life-work balance.
Okay.
Why do we always put the word work first?
Right.
Don't even start me.
Right,
That's
right.
just not even correct. But in just trying to live and love and be and experience and express, ultimately that's why we sign up to incarnate. There are 3 reasons why we're here.
What's
only.
the 3 reasons?
To love,
Okay.
to be loved,
Okay.
and to learn life lessons.
Okay.
Which we chose ahead of time.
Which we chose ahead of time.
Before
We chose
we
our life
incarnated.
lessons
Yeah.
ahead of time.
Based on our karma, based on
Okay.
our past lives, based
Okay.
on who we were, what we learned, what we didn't learn, what we didn't complete, or what we made worse or better. So all of that feeds into the information that says, okay, so this time around, you're going to be my mama because you're pretty cool, and we have our soul circles, and we repeat our lifetimes with our soul circles.
Some people say that sounds like hogwash. That
Yeah,
sounds like
I know.
mystical,
It does sound a little woo-woo. Some people say,
Yeah.
you're really out. But then they talk with me on a normal basis. I'm like, okay, let's just put it this way. Let's just assume you don't believe in any of that. Still have a session and see what happens and see how it sort of creates any of those subtle transformative shifts that we all seek. And then you talk to me about. I like the skeptics better than the people
Okay.
who come with all this
Okay.
psychic spiritual experience because they think they already have it all figured out. We don't have that much figured out.
Right.
It's the journey and the process that allows us.
So
to
how
get
does
there.
this help me?
Oh, my CBD. Oh, love this stuff.
Because you
It was going back to the
right.
balance and the health.
Exactly.
So, I mean,
you already know I'm with you.
my basic premise for everything is that, and what we need to teach our kids, and why indigos are so unique, tying it all back together. Indigos and us, and life is hard, and our bodies, and our brain chemistry, and our emotions are responding to whatever stimulus we give it.
Okay.
Right? So that stimulus comes from our environment, comes from our relationship, comes from our thoughts. Okay, everything affects everything. We have forgotten and been out of touch with a simple fact. We are not physical beings trying to be more spiritual. We are spiritual beings having a
learning
human
how to
experience.
live in this physical body. Right.
That's it.
Right.
Right? So
Okay.
in the human experience, we are mind, body, and spirit. Always. All
Okay.
3, all together, no matter what.
Okay.
So what can help each of us in our own little
Right. Okay.
bubble here?
Okay.
And to me, plant-based medicine, energy medicine, aromatherapy, which is the oldest modality on the planet to affect change on all 3 beings simultaneously. It's the only one. Mind, body, spirit. It works through the
But don't you-
olfactory. It's scientifically based, but it's really ancient.
But don't you think that burn the incense? But I really feel like no jive. I really feel like the calmness. I don't know if it's really the candles or I don't.
You don't know where it's coming from.
I think it's my
it's-
mental
well, sure.
vibration making myself or forcing myself to say I'm going to be calm right now.
Yeah. But
I
how
don't know
do you
that
get there, and how can we get there more frequently? Meaning, if
Okay.
you want to say it's from the candle or it's not, it's the way you're thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the way you're thinking.
Okay.
But
So
you're
then when
using
the
something
spray-
in your environment to help you think it. So meaning, is it the chicken or the egg? Does it matter if it's the light in the candle that allows you to kind of go, hey, I'm thinking calm now? Because it does trigger that
Okay.
response. for
But
you
why
to
I
think
can't
it.
just think calm without lighting the candle?
Oh, well, good luck on that.
Right.
But because of the stimulus
But what
and
if
how
I'm
much information.
lying to myself saying that the candle is
Then-
making me calm?
Okay, then we're gonna. All right,
You
so
know what I'm
Then
saying?
we're gonna do this.
Okay. Which one is that?
First, clear, breathe. Now, in the process of the fact that I just sprayed something, and there are terpenes, which is the scientific word for what smells in aromatherapy, you breathe it in. It triggers through the olfactory sense, your sense of smell, which, by the way, Alzheimer's and dementia also can be triggered and worked on through
Okay.
the sense of smell. It's your
Okay.
oldest sense.
Okay.
Sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just took a deep breath. You
Mhm.
paused for a moment. Does it matter if this made you or if you were looking to do it anyway? This was the vehicle to allow you
Okay.
to experience that.
Okay.
And the aromatherapy blend with CBD Now we're adding some anti-inflammatory.
Okay.
That's what the CBD is.
Okay.
Right, at the base level. There's a
Okay.
lot more than that. So getting back to the whole, we're mixing the most cutting-edge scientific responses to the stress of our environment with the oldest plant-based healing modalities.
Okay.
And you put the synergy of those things together, and you're giving yourself that, like, okay, hold on. Breathe, right? So that's clear.
Mm-hmm.
Now after we clear, remember we talked about your solar plexus, center.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to feel centered. Actually, oh my God, this is what I call my headless chicken spray. When I'm feeling like a headless chicken, breathe. Different scent, different feeling state, different moment.
Okay.
Got that one?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
See, they kind of hit, I mean, I wish we had like scent-o-vision because it's hard to express.
What's scent-o-vision?
Like if we could go through the camera
Oh, okay.
and be like, the people there can
Right.
smell it. Be like,
Okay.
"Ooh."
Oh, right.
I'm
Okay.
sure we'll come up with it soon.
Yeah,
Okay,
hello.
so that's like, that's number 2. Now
Okay.
you're like, okay, I trust my gut. I'm making good decisions.
Okay.
I'm feeling stronger. I'm feeling less like a
Okay.
headless chicken pulled in 20 directions.
Okay.
Right, this one is my good nurture, is for the stronger smell for a minute, and then I'll tell you why. Totally different. This one makes me feel like a little buzzy. I get
Yep,
that.
I feel that. Okay.
Yeah. An autistic kid that I work with in my private work, in my sessions, he says he calls this a yummy hug. And I was like, oh
Okay.
yeah, because it wraps around and it works on the heart chakra.
Okay.
It sort of stimulates, recharges, balances. And for us mompreneurs, it's the one that makes you feel like there's a hug so that you're not giving out so much energy that you're depleted. It
Okay.
says, no, hold back a little bit for yourself. But you
Okay.
can feel it. It's literally like right here.
Okay.
Right? So that's the chakra it's working on then. I love my, this is my Inspire, which is, this is throat chakra, communication, ideas, thinking. This unmushes my brain. But it also helps me sleep or it helps me focus to work because that's where your intention of where you are in that moment comes in.
Okay.
Meaning it's still working on all this, but what part? Are you trying to be productive or are you trying to empty your mind? Either way,
Okay.
right? So that's the one, we call that the good night spray for little kids. And then smile. I could like sing high up.
I'm not gonna smile now. See, it
Right.
makes me smile.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh.
Tell you why we, and now I'll tell you why we call it that.
Okay.
So you know, so this is a mood uplifter
Okay.
and a mood stabilizer. This
Okay.
helps for the kids who are autistic or on the spectrum or have more focusing issues. The higher the need state, the more obvious the response. But on us, it's like, it just makes you feel like I'm feeling really positive and connected and grounded. It's like the finishing spray.
So I have to
when my
smile.
pisses me off or says something,
Okay,
I go,
do you
did
really?
you spray today?
Okay.
Oh, I really do. The smile especially.
Okay.
The smile is
Okay.
the one for where we are on the planet right now.
Okay.
It's like, it's just incredibly powerful in
Okay.
that way. And people are usually like, literally, the mom with the really, the teen who's very, very autistic.
Okay.
And she can't calm him down at night and needs to, that's the one she gets him to go to sleep
And
with.
have you been doing this the whole 10 years that you've been self-employed now?
Yeah, what I did is I started with the line a few years ago.
Okay. Started with the what?
Not the whole line, well,
Okay.
except for Smile, which is the
Okay.
new one.
Okay.
We added the CBD last year. We
Okay.
did a soft launch. We're still in the soft launch phase at the Javits Center, which was
Wait a minute, you started a soft launch for a 10-year-old. How old is the company?
for the CBD aspect. So
Okay,
we
okay.
reformulate, we
Okay.
created Smile. We're the first and only CBD and aromatherapy line.
What does CBD stand for?
Cannabidiol. That's why they call it CBD.
Okay.
That's why I go cannabidiol.
Okay.
Cannabidiol is so you know about the medical cannabis movement?
Yes.
Okay. This CBD ingredient
Okay.
is not from cannabis. It's from
Okay.
the hemp plant. So I can't sell anything from cannabis over the counter.
Okay.
That's basically shea butter and our, again, there is a proprietary aspect to our CBD.
Okay.
Not all CBD is equal. But it's the most significant ingredient in the cannabis and hemp plant that's indicated, I kid you not, in already more than 60 studies for everything from Alzheimer's, dementia, MS, fibromyalgia, cancer, Dravet syndrome, chronic pain, all the mental health issues, anxiety, depression, social anxiety, PTSD, bipolar. CBD is already indicated in studies.
Okay.
So, yay.
Right.
Like if you're in a state that it's legal and you're having some issues, thank God there's like some other help now.
So
really. But you can
Baby
get it
boy
from
is
hemp,
14 and daughter is 16.
Yes.
So that means
Yes.
6 and 4 when you started doing this.
Yeah.
So how
About-
instrumental was this then in you being a mom then, because now they're young here, but
Yeah.
that's when we still love them. That's when
We always love them,
but that's the
yes,
the
when they
innocent
were-
age.
well,
What I'm saying?
innocent
They don't
age.
question us.
Okay.
Everything is like, mommy, I love you. Not that it's not now, but
It's really funny when my 14-year-old once in a while still tries to, he goes, I need a hug, and he climbs on my lap, and he's 5'9", and I'm like, okay, here I am trying to hold this very large teenage, so
okay,
sweet.
let me not say it that
So
way, because I do think sometimes I make it sound bad.
No,
it's
he's
a
a
catch
terror.
20. The
He's
catch
a terror
22.
the rest of the time for me.
Okay,
Terror.
the catch
I love him.
22 though I find is that because we're new age parents,
Yeah, we are.
and we teach our kids, talk to us, communicate with us.
Yes,
Don't
yes.
use little language or use little words, like express yourself. And then when they're like 12 and 13
Oh.
and 14, when they're learning how to put
They are
words together
expressing
and
themselves in
expressing
ways
themselves exactly.
We did
So-
not want. We did
Because
not
it sounds like
intend.
back talking. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yeah.
But then it's like, okay, but I needed them to express themselves and have an opinion and have a voice. So while we're going through this challenging stage of them now having a voice,
Right.
is it okay?
Yes,
Yes.
it is. Yes, it is.
And-
Because
okay.
part of when they exhibit that angst and that irritation, and remember, again, especially for indigos, they absorb everything and then they emit it back out at a fever pitch, whatever they
Okay.
can't hold, whatever they can't absorb, whatever doesn't integrate well. Okay, and half their lives are spent not being integrated.
Right.
So there's a lot that doesn't integrate well. Their school, their society. I hate to say it, but social media, man, oh God.
Really?
The stuff they're exposed to that makes them feel that they're wiser, more mature, and ready for the information, the visual, the stimulation, the speed of motion and movement in terms of how fast digital images go. Yeah, it's actually a problem. It's created a huge flux of sensory processing disorders and auditory processing disorders because it's constant. It's hours and hours and hours of screens that basically make your vision, it's proven, instead of absorbing the world, they're going like this. Their vision becomes smaller based on the screen size. And it affects how their brains wire.
Okay.
And then the material itself. I mean, I am not kidding you. My son is like such a sweetie pie in terms of we're all advocates for LGBTQ rights and all that. It's very important to us. And, he's got a lot of friends and we're all cool with the whole gender fluidity and really we do a lot of PSA work, all that. But my son took it upon himself. I'll never forget. He was 13 years old, maybe 12 and a half, maybe not even 13. And he comes to me and he goes, oh, I was curious. So on YouTube, I went and watched a transgender surgery. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Back that one up for a moment.
On YouTube.
On YouTube.
Free even on there. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I think that I'm so
It's
so
on there.
oblivious
It's on there.
to what my children are accessible to, because I hear people talk about
Yes.
social media all the time, and I'm like, but what are y'all talking? What's
Okay.
really? What's the big deal? You know what I'm saying?
As my daughter would go,
Like, what is
the tears roll
like?
down.
How do they even have that much time? And I'm thinking,
Oh, they
like,
do.
between life, who's on social media?
But look at
that
the
much?
reality. Look at television and media and culture in general.
Okay.
And look at what everybody became like. Let me show you who I am and the
Right.
craziness that I do. And then those train wreck formats, just in terms of just reality TV, is one platform, right? They went really harder.
So
and
are you
edgier
fighting
and
against
more.
that as well? You think,
No,
as a parent?
I'm accepting, and I'm saying it's a great invitation to have really different,
Okay.
unique, and specific conversations.
Okay, I can. Okay.
You know,
This is the movement. The movement.